Yet, Kamala Harris will abandon her seat. As you all know, as the Vice President and as serving as the President of the Senate, she is supposed to be seated next to me at the rostrum. She will not be there because she refuses to attend. She needs to be held accountable for that, and she needs to be asked very serious questions about why. They went down the roster to find out who else would sit in the seat. Senator Patty Murray declined the opportunity as well. She will also boycott the event, skip the speech. They landed on Senator Cardin, who is retiring from the Senate, so has little political risk. The idea that they're making political calculations when our ally is in such dire straits, fighting for its very survival and fighting back against the horrific attack in October is unconscionable to us. America's relationship with Israel has always been bipartisan, and it should stay that way. With that, I'll take a few of your questions. Yes, sir, front row.
Mr. Speaker, how did Director Cheadle react when you were faced with her in the library yesterday? And secondly, do you support efforts to impeach her?
She was very stoic, and I would classify it as sort of non-responsive, just as she was in the committee hearing. She seems to almost, in some way, almost be a little bit in shock about the events. And I just find her demeanor and her responses to be inexcusable and obviously inadequate. And so that's why you see, as was noted, the Oversight Committee is rarely united as it has been. Republicans and Democrats together agreeing that this is ridiculous and that she has to go. It's rather unconscionable to us that she's not been removed. One of our colleagues filed a impeachment resolution regarding her. And impeachment, as we know, is reserved for treason, bribery, high crimes, and misdemeanors. Maladministration and utter incompetence, unfortunately, are not impeachable offenses. But there are other ways to achieve the desired end. As was noted, we have a resolution to call upon President.
Okay, a lot of news in there.
Yeah,
really, Speaker Johnson, when we were with him in Milwaukee, he described that task force to us, and he apparently called his counterpart, Hakeem Jeffries, and said, give me your best, and give me your best people with an intelligence background, because we want to move fast on this for the American people.
Establishing a special task force in the House that'll be bipartisan. It'll be composed of 7 Republicans, 6 Democrats. The composition of the committee will be persons who have expertise in the areas in question and a lot of insight about that. We'll give the list of the composition of the committee, the members, by the end of this week. But they'll have 3 primary responsibilities. We have to get the answers, of course, about what happened. We need to make sure that accountability is ensured to the American people, and then we need to prevent anything like this from ever happening again. The committee will have subpoena authority. They will begin immediately. A final report will be due from the committee no later than December 13th, but we could probably expect that there will be interim reports along the way. We have a finite set of facts and circumstances here with regard to the event last Saturday, but there are deeper problems, obviously, in the Secret Service, and I think this task force will be the way for us to get to the bottom of that. Finally, it's been mentioned, I'm happy to welcome Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for what will be his 4th address to a joint session of Congress. He will set the record, surpassing Winston Churchill as the foreign leader who has addressed Congress the most times, because we live in historic moments, and because his testimony directly to Congress is so important with regard to what's happening in Israel right now. 120 hostages languish in tunnels deep in the land over there in Gaza, built by Hamas. These tunnels have been, and that includes, of course, 8 Americans, and we cannot forget that. Our 2 nations are united in our common cause to bring the hostages home, and we are united to stand against our common enemies. As Iran and its proxies, including Hezbollah and the Houthis, have become increasingly hostile, they attack Israelis in the north and in Tel Aviv, we have to be clear that Israel is not alone. It has never been more important than it is right now for us to stand with our closest ally in the Middle East and our traditional partner in all these things. And it is outrageous to me and inexcusable that, as the leader mentioned, that Kamala Harris is boycotting this joint session. This is an historic moment. It's an important moment for the country for all the reasons we've said. The gravity of the situation cannot be overstated.